Good morning, everyone. My name is Francia. Today we're practicing our restorative yoga. We're going to use a set of blocks, possibly a blanket and or a cushion or a bolster, whatever you have nearby. Big pillows always work. So let's start in a comfortable seated position. Allow the shoulders to soften back. Maybe close the eyes and kind of just take your awareness inward. So the first thing I like to do when I find stillness or when I first sit down, you might need to move, wiggle, shake, readjust, and that's fine. You can do that. Once you've kind of settled into the stillness of your body, take inventory of the sounds going on around you, the sensations on your skin, any movement around you, any external stimuli. And then start to shift your awareness inward. Any emotions, any feelings, any internal awareness. By removing our attention from the external stimuli to the internal ones, we start to resettle ourselves to come into a place of awareness that lives within. Our restorative practice invites us to do this constantly as we're moving and also as we're holding poses. It's also one of the 8 limbs of our practice, pratyahara, removal of the senses. Allow yourselves a nice deep breath in and a slow breath out to kind of seal that knowledge, that understanding, and utilize it throughout the rest of your practice today. With the next inhale breath, we'll draw the palms together at the center of the heart, and we'll open the sacred space of our practice with the sound Om. Inhale to begin. Om. Exhaling, slowly releasing the hands, blinking the eyes open, awareness back into our space. So we're going to start today with a child's pose. Let's make our way onto our hands and knees. And before we do our regular child's pose, let's go ahead and tuck the toes under, separate the knees, bring the big toes and the heels together, and then just press back to stretch through the feet. So we're stretching a little bit through the toes, through the feet. Try not to push yourself up, but try to kind of keep yourself nice and engaged here. The shoulders roll back and you feel a nice length in the spine. So from this position here, pressing the heels back, maybe you're stretching deeply through the toes, maybe you're stretching deeply through the feet or even the ankles. Be aware how this feels in your knees, how this feels in your hips. Take a nice deep breath, lengthen through the spine, move the shoulders back. And then as we exhale, you can take your cushion or your bolster and you're going to slide it close to your body. Bring the elbows down. And as you let your chest or your rib cage rest on your cushion or your bolster, keep pressing back through the heels. Let the chin and the forehead come down. So we're not really activating through the arms just yet. The palms are relaxed, maybe against each other. The elbows are on the mat. And you want to have your elbows a little close to each other, so not separated and further away. This will help you find a nice movement in the shoulders. So still stretching through the toes, still stretching through the feet, still lengthening back through the tailbone. Let the head relax down. Let's hold one more breath. And then slowly as we exhale, let's look forward, bring the weight forward, release the toes. Let's tap out those toes. Give them a little shake, a little tap. And then again, we sit back. So now with the toes released, maybe you can bring a little bit more of your belly or your chest to your bolster or to your pillow. Forehead can rest on the mat. Or if you have a little opening, maybe chin or your tip of your nose touching the mat. Still, the arms aren't terribly engaged here, so just the same arms, kind of relaxed arms here. We're gonna do a little something different. We're gonna turn the palms out, so thumbs out away from each other, and then again, resettle down. So this just moves the space into the shoulders. Keep moving your hips back and down, keep the lower belly drawn in. Nice deep inhale, slow, gentle exhale. Getting just enough activity that you can hold the pose without overdoing it. So not trying to create tension or tightness, but instead softening where the body needs to soften. And then finding a little bit of activity, a little bit of engagement where the body needs to be active or engaged. With the next inhale breath, we're going to turn the palms down, so rotating the shoulders inward. As the shoulders move back and down, reach the arms forward. Try to lift the elbows off the mat, and then again, resettle yourself back down onto the bolster or onto the pillow. You can also turn your head sideways if you need space. And then we're going to press into the fingertips and lift up here. So a little bit more activation in the shoulders. Reach your tailbone back and down, really extending. One more breath. Let your body be supported fully by your prop, so not holding yourself up, but instead letting your weight press down onto your pillow. Next inhale breath, palms come down, lift the chest, look forward. Exhale there, slide the hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, lift your chest, open your heart, chin up, a little bit of a cow pose here, shoulders back. Opening the throat, lifting the tailbone, and then exhale, curling into a cat pose. Tuck the tailbone under, kind of tuck your hips under, chin towards the chest, push back into the middle back. One more time. Inhale, move into cow. And exhale, move into cat. Coming to a flat back, we're going to reverse that motion. So now the exhale will move us into cow and the inhale into cat. And we're going to add a lion's breath, our fun lion's breath. So as you're ready, inhale, exhale. Inhale, curl into cat. Exhale with lion breath. Inhale to cat. And then one last one. Exhale to lion's breath. Inhale to cat. And slowly coming to a flat back. Let's move the pillow off to the side for a nice pigeon here. So we're going to start by bringing the weight forward onto hands and knees. Find your hands and knees pose. Before we go into pigeon, we're going to stretch a little bit. So tuck the toes under, engage into the shoulders, draw in through the navel. Inhale, lift yourself a little bit off the mat so the knees are barely hovering off the mat, and let's hold. 1, building strength, building up heat, finding a nice strong core here. 3, 4, almost there. Lift through the chest. 5, exhale, pull it all the way back. Keep the knees soft. Let's take our downward facing dog. You can sway the hips side to side, bending and straightening through the legs. Kind of just finding yourself in a little bit of movement here. Maybe both knees bend, both knees straighten. Maybe weight forward, weight back. Start to kind of become acquainted with this downward facing dog. We do it all the time. It's pretty much in every single one of our practices. It really is a foundational pose. See if you can kind of connect with, again, finding that inner landscape of the body, connect with the feelings within so that you can make the most out of your posture. Keep pulling in through the lower navel. Keep lengthening the spine. Let the head hang heavy. One more breath, inhale. And then exhale, let's look forward and bring the knees down to the mat, back to tabletop. All right, we're gonna set up for our pigeon very gently, very nicely. Keep the bolster on the left side of your body. You're gonna take that left leg through so that the foot comes to the outside of the right knee. Then you're gonna place the bolster so that you're able to sit down. So then your pillow is gonna be very helpful here. If you don't have a pillow, a block is also a possibility. So the closer that the pillow is to your knee, the more support it's going to provide. The further it is back, the less support it will provide. So decide how much support you want. As far as your right leg, kind of look back towards the right leg. Make sure that your ankle is straight. So you don't want your ankle twisted in or twisted out. Kind of keep the top of the leg down. Reassign yourself here into that position so that your two hips are even and square. We're going to stay here with the hands on the mat, lifting the chest, and kind of just maybe swaying a little side to side. The swaying side to side obviously doesn't necessarily come as part of this posture, but for me, I don't know if it's the same for you. You can try it. If you don't like to sway, you're welcome to be still. But for me, I find that as soon as I start to add a little bit of movement, then I start to feel more of that internal understanding. Where does my hip need to live? Where does my leg need to be in order to make this pose accessible for my body? Remember, we want to fit the pose to us, not us to the pose. So from here, you can grab a block if you like, and then you can place it in front. Maybe bring your forearms to the block. You may not need the block. You may be able to just bring your forearms straight to the floor. That's perfectly fine. For me, I'm going to kind of be here for a few moments. It's been a little bit since I've practiced. So I was just letting Mindy know earlier that our bodies are like a bank. You can't withdraw what you don't deposit. So I haven't been doing a whole lot of deposits this past week. So now I'm feeling the consequences of that. And that happens when we don't practice, but also too, sometimes not practicing is part of our yoga learning and our yoga journey. So we come back to the mat when we're ready to. We're going to be here just a few more moments. We're going to hold this like a yin posture, making sure that there is no pain anywhere in your body. We want to avoid any sort of pain that you might be feeling. So you want to create a sense of effort and engagement and maybe even discomfort. Those things, those are acceptable. Pain, however, we don't want to be too fond of that. So make sure that you adjust so that there is no pain while you're holding. And if you've been here for a while, which we have, you can take your elbows down, maybe rest your chin or your forehead to the block. Or if you don't need the block at all, just bring yourself all the way down to the floor. And again, you're using your forearms to keep you balanced here, keep you stable. You're pressing back through that right leg as you keep trying to drop that left hip down onto your pillow or your bolster or your block, whatever prop you have underneath it. You're going to try to find a softness in the shoulders, moving the shoulder blades back and down. You can always go back to where we were before if this feels like it's too much. So remember the steps that we take to get somewhere so that you can back yourself off before I give the cue to, so that you can really utilize your practice for your own well-being. We'll be here just a few more breaths, letting go of all things that no longer serve us and surrendering to what is. Breathing deeply and letting that be our guide. Take one more deep breath here. As we exhale, we're going to press into the forearms, lift the head, maybe slide the arms in, maybe walk the hands so that you can kind of lift up here. Shoulders roll back, lift your rib cage and chest, keep pressing down through your hips. A little bit of a stretch here, tuck the back toe under and see if you can straighten that right leg. Might feel a little bit intense, that's okay. Keep pressing into the arms, lifting up through the heart, nice strong right leg. And then exhale, let's lower it down. Slide that right knee forward, slide that left knee back, Move the cushion over to the other side. Find yourself into tabletop position once more. Tucking the toes under, inhale, lift the knees, hold 1. Strong core, 2. Shoulders engaged, 3. 4, the knees are barely hovering off the floor. 5, exhale, push it back to downward facing dog. As you find your downward facing dog, walk your feet a little bit. Make sure that your downward facing dog isn't too close. So this, you don't want this. And make sure that it's not too far, right? Really overextending. So find yourself in a happy medium where your feet can be flat, heels moving down towards the earth, shoulder blades rolling back away from the ears. Belly's drawn in. You can have both knees bent. You don't have to have the knees straight. You can pedal out, sway side to side. Whatever your body needs here. 1 more breath. And then inhale, coming forward, bringing the knees down to the mat. Then we're going to take that right knee forward, slide that pillow or cushion behind your right hip. Walk that left leg back. Try to sit down onto the pillow. So I always like, when I'm first preparing for this posture, I bring all my weight to the pillow. I know where my right foot needs to be. Ideally, your right leg would be forward more. For me, this is pretty much as far as I can bring it forward. Bring yours as much forward as it's comfortable for you. Then once I've kind of settled in there, remember that the bolster position is going to tell you how much support you have or not. So the closer it is to your knee, more support it's holding up your whole leg. The further back, less support is only holding up your hip. Then your back leg, your left leg, you're going to look back and you're going to make sure that that left foot isn't twisting. So rolling off to the side or rolling in. So you want to keep it nice and straight. Then we check in with the hips. Okay, so now the leg is straight, the foot is nice and extended, the hips are nice and even. My hands can come in front here to kind of lift through my chest. Find myself in this position. And then we hold and breathe. So as we hold and breathe, same as before, moving those shoulders back, settling in, maybe we add a little bit of the wiggle. The wiggle is, for me, a game changer, especially in these yin poses where we're to hold stillness. I don't consider the wiggle non-stillness, I guess, because I'm still really mindful of each movement that I'm making. So I guess in that sense, this back and forth as I settle my hips down creates a little bit of inner stillness until my body is able to find the stillness outside. And then you can take the block and bring your forearms to the block. And again, maybe a little bit more wiggling or maybe not. Maybe at this point, we don't need to wiggle. You can be still. Or maybe at this point, you don't need to be still. You can wiggle. So either way is a good thing. Moving the shoulders back and down and allowing that left hip, so the left side of the body, to move towards the floor. And we'll just be here for a few moments. Again, making some nice deposits into our yogic bank account of our bodies. Breathing gently. Make sure that the left leg stays activated. So remember not to let that left heel flip off to the side. Same as we do in our upward facing dog. You want to make sure that the heels are pointing up and that you're pressing into the tops of your feet. It's the same idea here. And then we'll just hold just a few more breaths, and then we're going to try and come down all the way, either with no block or with the block underneath the forehead. So that means you're going to release the arms to either sides of the block, maybe push that block slightly forward so that your forehead can rest on the block. Again, making little adjustments so that you feel like you're not toppling over to the left. So you don't want to dump all your weight to the left. You want to keep your weight pressing down to that right hip, moving into the posture, breathing gently. Nice deep inhale, slow, gentle exhale. We'll be here for a few breaths, so get comfy. letting go of anything that no longer serves, letting go of limiting beliefs, ideas that keep us from manifesting our greatest potential. Accepting where we are now with love and compassion for ourselves, because that is exactly where we're meant to be. If we were meant to be anywhere else, we would be. So we are here now, in this moment, holding pigeon pose and breathing. Let that be your full awareness right now. Breathing deeply. As you inhale, you feel your body expanding and lengthening. As you exhale, you allow that breath to settle into your cells, in towards your body, your organs, your tissue. Let's do another deep breath in. Slow exhale. And then with the next inhale, we lift the head, move the shoulders back, look forward, slide the hands underneath the shoulders, lift yourself back up here for a moment. And then we're going to tuck that left toe under. That sun's starting to come in through the side here. And then we're going to lift and straighten through that left leg. Get a nice deep stretch there. Open your heart, extend your body. Nice deep inhale, slow, gentle exhale. And then we release. Good. You can kind of slide that left knee in, move the right knee back. Okay, we'll move the pillow out of the way for now. We'll move the block out of the way for now. And then again, sit up in tabletop position, tuck the toes under, lift those knees, engage your core. Exhale, push it back, downward facing dog. If you don't want to do downward facing dog here, you can do a down puppy. Or you can do a dolphin pose with the forearms on the floor. Make sure your knees stay soft. Don't lock out your knees, especially after that last 2 nice long holds of pigeon pose. So soft knees will be very, very nice here. Again, a little sway if the body calls for it. Engage into your quadriceps. Imagine your kneecaps lifting up towards your hips. We have a dog. And then exhale, let's bring the knees down. Let the dog move along its way. And then slowly, we're gonna make our way to a seated position. So I like to cross my knees or cross at the ankles, bring my hands close to my knees, and then slide my knees forward so that I can bring myself to a seated position, legs extended. All right, so the first pose we're gonna do here, let's go ahead and grab our blanket. We'll see how this pose goes for me. This is a double pigeon. So we did single pigeon, now we're gonna do double pigeon. Grab yourself a block, place it underneath your left knee. And then when you look down at your left leg should be kind of parallel to the top of your mat. So not tucked in like we would if we were sitting in Sukhasana. If the block is too much, you can also use a blanket, but I don't know. It's gonna depend on you. So you might need a big blanket. And then we're going to take the right leg, place it on top of that left knee. And as you can see, there is a big gap between the right knee and the left foot. Maybe for you, the gap is a little bit smaller. We're going to place the block or another blanket if you have 2, if you're fancy like that. Then you can have 2 blankets, one underneath each knee. So here's how it looks. Good. Know her? Good. Okay. I'd like to make sure that you're supported. So another option would be if you have your pillow, you don't like that, you can use the pillow underneath the knee instead of the block, or you can use the block, whichever. Just make sure that whatever you're using to support you is holding your knees. This is going to help your hips relax because now your hips aren't forcing the legs up, but they're relaxing and they're going to let the knees come down. And just take inventory of what it looks like in the beginning because it's funny how it changes. And then we're going to bring our hands slightly behind us, lift the rib cage and chest, move the shoulders back. We're going to just be here for a few breaths. Both feet are flexed. Both ankles are straight. So notice that this ankle doesn't sink down. I know some people do that. I don't know how that happens, that the ankle like just wobbles down. So make sure that this space from your heel all the way up to your knee is nice and straight. Same with the bottom leg. As we hold, you might find that you need less lift on both sides. So that's why I like to use the soft support, because the block only really has 3 levels and they're all pretty thick. So now you find, okay, well, I can still hold, but I don't need as much support as I needed before. And we hold again for a few breaths, and we're going to try to let the support move down one more time before we switch to the other side. So we notice that the body starts off in a very kind of stiff way, and then as we move through the entirety of the movement, as we hold through the pose, it starts to soften. And you might find that the softening is very little or a lot. So for me, at this point, I no longer need that. I can maybe just use a little bit of support here. And there you go. If you could take a picture before and after of what this pose looks like, it's pretty amazing. I'm always amazed by it. And I'm not making it up. In the beginning, I do need all that support. My legs will not come down. So this is a really kind of good example of how our bodies helps us release. And also too, it's body awareness. It's continuously practicing that helps us come into more and more things like that. And then just for fun, let's try removing all the props. And let's see what happens. If it feels okay, then you can stay there. Nice deep inhale, slow exhale, relax your shoulders, keep both feet flexed so the soles of the feet are pointing out to the sides, the ankles are supported. And then we're going to slowly take a nice deep breath in. If at all available, start to lean forward. If it's not available, don't. Just stay upright. Inhale, come up. Exhale there. Let's lean back. Extend one leg out. Extend the other leg out. Both feet extended. Shake them out. Give your legs a nice, I don't know, shake. And then we'll set up for the other side. So I'm going to set up the exact same way because it's probably going to be what I need. So the right leg is in front, right knee supported by your blanket or your bolster or your pillow. Left leg comes on top. We find this huge gap here, and I'm going to fill the gap with my pillow so that I can let my hips relax. Now this side is my not so bendy side that I absolutely love because it is my best teacher. It teaches me patience, kindness, compassion to myself. It teaches me that even though things aren't perfect, I can still live and survive and thrive within difficulty. So it's a good teacher for me. Either way, you either have a whole lot of support or not so much. And then you're going to make your way out of the support by just slightly changing it. So this blanket that I doubled up, maybe I'll just do a single fold. And then see how that happens. And then this leg that has the cushion on its side, maybe I bring it to its front. Okay, that's not too bad. That works. All right, hands back down to the mat. And again, we lift through the chest, we roll the shoulders back, and we're trying to move our rib cage forward. That's the goal here, to move your rib cage forward. Good. Good. Try to get your top foot, Kendrick, over your knee instead of, no. Place the pillow underneath your knee. So you're moving more into your hip than your knee. Does it hurt? Okay. Now place the pillow this way or a block to support it. There you go. Perfect. Okay, and then one last time, if it's available for you, maybe you remove everything entirely, or maybe like I did on the other side. Let's see if that helps. I just take the blanket on this side. Or maybe you stay in the full supported posture. Maybe you want to be there the whole time. I remember for me, the first time that I did this with a teacher, and she kept saying to remove things. I was like, I'm not taking anything away. I'm keeping all my stuff. Because it was hard enough there. I didn't need to remove anything. So maybe removing support is not for you today. Maybe keeping all the support is what your body needs. And then just for fun, let's give it a try. Okay, that's not too bad. And we're gonna lift the chest and then exhale, we're gonna lean forward. So we're trying to bring our rib cage towards our shins. And allow the shoulders to move back. Exhale, inhale, come up. Use your hands, use your legs, use your whole body to extend the legs, bring them forward. And again, kind of shake them out a little bit. Good. All right, I just want to make sure we have time for our sound healing. Let's do one more pose. We'll do a nice restorative back bend. We'll start with the lower hips since we've been working with those. So lay down, grab your block with you, bring it with you as you lay down on your back. Bend your knees, plant your feet on the floor. We're going to start with the block at its lowest level. So place the block underneath the sacrum. So just the sacrum is lifted. The shoulders are on the mat. And then from here, go ahead and extend one leg, extend the other leg. And then we're going to just be here in this lifted kind of sort of half bridge, but not really. Just relax the shoulders, kind of flex your feet and feel that the fronts of your hip flexors and the deeper muscles of the psoas are what we're targeting here. Then you can take your arms over your head and make a diamond shape with your arms so that you can kind of really feel yourself connected through the upper arms and through the shoulders. We're going to just be here for a few breaths. We won't be here long because we're going to make this a little bit more challenging. So if you don't feel very challenged right now, that's okay. And if you feel really challenged right now, then you might want to stay. For the next version, we're going to bring the arms down. We're going to bend the knees again, plant the feet on the floor. And then we're going to lift the block to its middle level. So just tilt it on its side. Resettle your sacrum down. Make sure that you feel that your sacrum is supported here. Not your butt cheeks, not your waist. So right in between. And then again, extend one leg, extend the other. Flex through the feet. I like to keep the legs parallel. They don't have to touch, but they shouldn't be splayed out to the side. So keep the legs parallel to each other as you move the direction out through the soles of the feet, flexing the toes back. So it's almost like you're standing on the side of the wall. And then from here, the shoulders are down, your head is down, and then you can take the position of your arms. And again, we hold and breathe. We're trying to straighten our legs. If they straighten, great. If they don't, then we work on straightening them. So that means we contract the quadriceps and we lift the kneecaps. This is very good for keeping support, nice strong knees, supportive legs. Also really helps with the hips and especially my left hip that's been acting up lately. Breathing gently. These types of poses, you're really going to feel where your body needs them. So your body will find kind of the weakest link in your body. And then these types of poses will activate that specific part of your body. So for me, that might be my left hip. You might not feel this at all anywhere in your hips, but maybe you feel it in your calves, your ankles, your knees, somewhere else in your body. That's where you need to feel it today. All right, for the last one, we're going to go ahead and bring the arms down, slide the feet back into position, bending the knees, and then we're going to lift the block to the highest level. If that's not available, no worries, stay at the mid-level. This time we're not going to straighten the legs, but we're going to flatten the feet out so that we are indeed in a simple bridge position. What you need to focus on here is internal rotation of the thighs, keeping the feet grounded and planted on the floor. So the feet do not come up off the floor, the heels don't lift, the heels stay down. All 10 toes gripping the mat. And then lastly, take the hands overhead, find that diamond shape over your head with your arms, and just be here. Let the block do the work. So your legs are active in the internal rotation, not in the lift and push. So when we do this without the block, we have to engage our legs to kind of lift our hips up. We don't have to do that here. The block is holding us. So the engagement of the legs comes from internally rotating the thighs. And then we start to kind of squeeze a little bit through the legs. Just enough. Squeeze a little bit through the glutes. Just enough, not tight. Just a little bit of activation there. And then as we exhale, we're going to come to the toes. And then we're going to roll the block down to the second level. The second one we found or the first one, either one. And then as we inhale, we're going to lift the feet off the floor. Make sure that you're settled onto your block. And then take your legs up for legs up the wall. Shoulders relax. Easy, steady breath. Arms could be by your sides, down next to you. Your legs are like two hot air balloons, right? You can separate them. You can scissor them a little bit. You can bend and straighten the legs. Just let the legs kind of be. You can close your eyes and really come back into that inner landscape of the body, what we talked about in the beginning of our practice. How are we feeling within? What are the sensations within the body, the emotions, the feelings that arise? Be with that for a few moments. The next exhale, we're going to slowly lower the feet down to the mat. Take your time. There's no rush. Once the toes touch, lift the hips, remove the blocks, settle yourself back down, and you know what's next. Give yourself a big hug. Thank you to your body. Thank you to your hips, your knees, your feet, your core, your shoulders, your whole system working to get you moving and to get you into these positions. We're going to roll ourselves up to seated. You can take 2 or 3 rolls if you like. So roll back and roll forward. Roll back and roll forward. We're giving the middle back a little bit of a massage here as we roll up and down, maybe another 2 more. And with the last one, we're going to sit all the way up and come to seated. Okay, beautiful. So the last pose we're going to do today is Trianga Mukha. We're going to separate it. So go ahead and sit on top of your block. Make it go sideways so that both of your butt cheeks, both of your sits bones are on the block. You're going to keep your left leg straight, and then you're going to bring your right toes back. You can also do this on a pillow or a bolster. So when you look at your right toes, they're pointing straight back. None of this thing to the side. I don't know how people do that with their knee. Yikes, that hurt just by trying. So straight back with that foot. Your knees are together. Your left foot is flexed, and your hands can be down on the floor. Now, I have really long arms, so my fingertips can touch. Not my palms, but my fingertips can touch. It's possible that you're not able to touch. You're like, it's not right there. So if it's not, that's okay. Lift through your rib cage and chest, move your shoulders back, and then we're going to walk our hands back. So different than we do in our Ashtanga practice where we move forward, we're actually moving back. Once your hands are on the mat, inhale, lift your hips, tuck your toes under, and settle your butt down onto the mat, or onto the block, I should say. So that should have got engaged a little bit more into the front of that right quad. Keep your left foot flexed. And as you exhale, maybe start to bend into your elbows. Find a nice stretch. I wouldn't recommend bringing the elbows all the way down to the mat, even if you have the flexibility to do it, just because of the position of the block. If your hips were down on the floor, I'd say yes, bring those elbows down. But because we're using the block today, just a gentle bend, moving into that back direction. And then inhale, lift up. Exhale there, walk your hands back up, and then we're gonna lift the hips, kind of push the block out of the way and sit down on the mat. All right. If this is available, then you're gonna sit on the mat. If you tried this and you're like, nope, not happening, I'm tilting over to the side too much, or my knees bothering me, then re-lift your hips back on the block. But if not, you can keep the block there. It's not gonna be in your way. If not, then we're going to, again, find that lifted position. Maybe the palms can be flat this time, shoulders back. We're going to lean back. Don't worry, we won't go back all the way again here. We're just going to lean back, lift through the hips, tuck the tailbone under, and resettle yourself back down to the floor. I like the block in the position that it's in because it helps to give a little lumbar support. So once you're there, maybe the elbows can come to the mat. And the block is kind of giving you a little bit of support there in the lower back. Feels kind of nice. So let's stay here. I don't particularly, I'm not a big fan of dropping the head back here. I know some teachers do call for that to happen. For me, I feel like tucking the chin in, looking towards that left foot is a little bit more, I don't know, natural feeling. The head hanging back and tense the neck. So, but you can try it and see what you feel. And then inhale, press into the hands, slowly come up, lift the hips, resettle yourself down, shoulders back. All right, we're gonna lean to the left and extend that right leg. Let all that circulation move through the legs, so healing for our knees, so healing for our legs. Fresh new blood moving through the legs feels really, really good. Allow that to happen. Maybe even flex or point your toes to pump a little bit more blood in that direction. And then we're going to set up for the other side. So again, we're going to lift the hips up, sit down on top of the block, and then that left foot comes back. Remember, the toes point straight back. Let me move forward so I have room. Once the left toes are back, then the right leg is extended. You're not sitting on your left heel. It's on the outside of your hip. Right foot is flexed, knees and thighs come together, and then hands can move back. And then you can find that kind of gentle lift through the rib cage. Lift up through the hips, tuck under through the tailbone, and resettle yourself onto the block. As soon as we do that, that re-engages that left hip flexor and the left quad. As you're ready, maybe start to bend through the elbows, lean back a little bit, see where your body goes. You want to feel that that left leg is active. Try not to lift the left knee off the floor. So left knee stays down. Right foot is flexed. Right leg is engaged. Shoulders back. Calm and steady breathing. Not coming all the way to the floor. Even if you're super bendy, I recommend staying lifted so that you can really find yourself in the posture without dumping your weight down. You're staying active. And then inhale, slowly come back up. Exhale, back to upright. All right, we're going to remove the block. So lean forward or to the side. Remove the block out of the way. Sit down. Actually, let's put it behind us. So just place it right behind your hips. And then again, resettle yourself. Make sure that both your left hip and your right hip are down. I know that sometimes when we're in this position, we tend to tilt to the right. And it's okay. If you do, just use your right hand to keep you more upright. And then once you've kind of decided, okay, this is good, I'm ready to lean back, slide those hands back. Once you've kind of found that lift back, inhale, lift your hips, tuck under through your pelvis, resettle yourself back down onto the mat. And then you can find a bent elbows, or if it's available, forearms to the floor, chest and rib cage open, shoulders back, looking towards your right foot. And again, this pose in particular, Trianga Mukha, it creates a tourniquet effect on the knees. This is cutting off the blood circulation to the knee and the lower leg, which you would think is a bad thing, but when we release it, all of that fresh oxygenated blood comes through and helps to create healing for the knee and the legs where it was not before. So as we do this, and as we do this continuously, that will get rid of any kind of scar tissue or any kind of issues we may have with our knees. So from here, inhale, press up, lift the chest, shoulders roll back, exhale, come back to seated. And now you can go ahead and lean to the side, extend the left leg. Very important part here is to let both legs be straight. Let all that fresh, oxygenated, healing blood move through the legs, and you can pump your toes and feet and ankles to kind of help move it in that direction. So again, really wonderful for the knees. One more thing we're going to do here before we lay down is we're going to come into a standing forward fold. So tuck your feet underneath you. Actually, you know what? Let's do a squat. So grab your block. Place it, I changed my mind. Place it underneath your hips and find yourself into a squat. So knees wide apart, chest lifted, shoulders back, elbows inside the legs, open up through your heels, and then lift your rib cage, lift your heart, stay here. So as we find ourselves into a squat, we're really kind of pressing down through the tailbone and lifting up to the top of the head. We're going to do a couple of lifts and lowers. Again, really good for the knees, but be gentle, be kind. If anything hurts, then don't lift and lower. Just stay in the squat. So from here, lift the arms forward, engage into your core, lean forward, hips up, exhale, hips down, back into the squat. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift up, exhale, come down. 1 more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come down and hold. So, not just for the knees, but for the hips. Nice opening, shoulders back. Now for this last one, take the hands down to the floor and inhale, elevate your hips, separate your feet as wide as your mat. Let your kind of legs hang here. Let your upper body hang as your legs stabilize. And then take a hanging forward fold. You can hold on to the opposite elbows. Let your body sway, bend and straighten through the hips, move side to side, front and back. This side here, what feels good for you. Sometimes these hanging forward folds can feel like a lot. So if you are kind of like up like this, really trying to kind of come down, but it's not happening, that's okay. Do the best you can. With time, with effort, and with consistency, your body will start to give way so that you can move into these poses with a little bit more ease. With the next exhale, we're going to release our arms. If your block is there, you can move it out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and make our way to a supine position or a laying down position. If there's any other poses that you'd like to try, if you'd like to do some sort of an inversion, like shoulder stand, headstand, halasana with the legs all the way back, feel free to do anything like that. We didn't do that many twists today, so if your body needs a twist, maybe that's what you need for today. Now, hopefully the dogs won't bark and be crazy because I'm going to start our sound healing. All right. So make sure you're covered up. Make sure you feel cozy in this position. At the end of our sound healing, I will be offering us a few moments of silence. So allow yourselves a deep breath in and a slow breath out. Slowly begin to bring awareness back to this body, this room, this mind, this next stream of thoughts. Perhaps wiggling the fingers and toes, hands and feet, moving through the wrists and ankles. Perhaps taking a full body stretch, a full body yawn, lengthening the entire body from the toes to the fingers. And as we exhale, we can relax the arms back down, eventually making our way into a comfortable seated position. As we allow ourselves a few more moments here of inner awareness and stillness and silence, just honoring your body, honoring your experience, however your practice went, however effortful or easy it felt. Just be grateful. Just be open. Just be here. We'll bring our palms together at the center of our heart. We'll seal our practice with the sound Om. Inhale to begin. Om. Namaste.